Hey, everybody. Today we're going to talk about betrayal fiction. And betrayal fiction is just what it sounds like. Some central character experiences some difficulty where either they are betrayed or they are in a position where they might have to betray another person. Today's books are going to build in difficulty. So we're going to start with what might be the easiest of them and build to what we'll call our reach read. All right. So first up, we have Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. Uglies is a dystopian futuristic novel. So if you like a dystopian novel, this might be one for you. It is about Tally Youngblood, and Tally is about to turn 16 in what is called Uglyville. And for Tally, 16 means huge changes that she just can't wait for. In just a few weeks, once she turns 16, she'll have her operation, which will turn her from a repellent ugly into what is called a pretty. And she'll at that time be able to move to New Pretty Town. As a pretty, she is catapulted into a high-tech paradise where her only requirement is that she has to have fun. But before her operation, Tally makes a new friend, and her friend's name is Shay. And Shay isn't certain that she wants to become a pretty. She even has friends that have avoided this operation, which is required by the government for a long period of time. And when Shay runs away, Tally is forced into a side of New Pretty Town that she never knew of. The government wants her to betray her new friend and tell them everything she knows about what's going on with Shay and her friends who have escaped. Does Tally have the ability to betray her new friend for her own personal gain? Find out in Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. Next up, we have Solo by Kwame Alexander. This looks like a substantial novel, and it is, but it is a novel in verse. So that makes that substance kind of read pretty quickly. It's high interest, its pace is fast, and it is about Blade, who is the son of rock legend Morrison Rutherford, and he is sick of his father's antics. His father's alcoholism and ego have destroyed Blade's childhood, leaving him feeling alone and embarrassed much of the time. Blade's only escapes seem to be his tremendous talent playing guitar and songwriting, plus his love for his girlfriend, Chapel. But when Blade faces losing Chapel and unearthing a massive family secret, all he wants to do is flee, and he has the resources to do so. Blade's escape ultimately lands him in Ghana. However, will this be the place where he can resolve all of these crises that seem to stem from fundamental betrayals? Or is he just creating more problems for himself that he'll never be able to escape? Find out if Blade can recover in Solo, a novel in verse by Kwame Alexander. Our next book is called We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. Nina LaCour is a pretty prolific young adult author. She has lots of really popular stuff. And as you can see, that this is an award winner. This is a Prince Award. Remember, we're building in a little bit of challenge here. We Are Okay it is about Marin, who has escaped to New York, leaving California behind, including everything and everyone she thought were important. She does so for her first semester of college. But when that semester ends and her former best friend turned girlfriend, Mabel, is coming to visit and bringing with her the kind of winter storm neither has seen before, Marin knows she will have to face the truth of her past, the discoveries she has made after her grandfather's untimely death, and acknowledge the wounds she has spent the last few months trying to ignore. Mabel feels betrayed that Marin has cut her out of Marin's life, and Marin feels betrayed that Mabel has been able to carry on despite Marin's difficulties. How will these alienated friends reconnect, and how will the secrets of Marin's family impact her life in the future? This broken narrative jumps between the summer before Marin leaves for college and the winter break after her first semester. We Are Okay explores the ideas of fear, isolation, betrayal, self-worth, and shame. Next up, we have a novel that is currently one of my favorites. I absolutely love this book. It's one I've been recommending a lot. It's called American Street by E.B. Zoboi. It is about Fabiola Toussaint and her mother, or Mon as she calls her, who have been dreaming of life in the United States for years. When they finally arrive in a New Jersey airport from Haiti, something goes terribly wrong. Fabiola immediately clears customs, but her mother is detained. Mon yells to Fabiola to catch their connecting flight to Detroit, where they're meeting family. Despite not wanting to carry on without her mother, Fab listens. She heads to Detroit, where she is picked up by her cousins, who she's only ever video chatted with before. Their names are Chantel, Princess, and Prima Donna. They drive Fabiola to the house that she has always imagined, and it's on the corner of American and Joy Streets. But it's not the same without Mon. Fabiola does immediately start school with her cousins the next day, but she is so distracted by her mother's plight. When Fabiola learns of some illicit activity happening in the neighborhood, she begins to wonder if she can sell those secrets in trade for her mother's release. Ultimately, this would be an act of fundamental betrayal. But what can Fab do? She needs her mother. What will she decide? And what will become of her mother? Pay close attention in this novel to the notions of the American dream, which are really important in English 10 AA. For our final book, we're going to look at an adult book, and this is our Reach book. So this is going to provide the most challenge for you in terms of complexity of story, in difficulty of subject matter, in complexity of language, and even the historical context of the book. This is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. And some of you may have heard of this book. Some of you may have even read it. I believe it was on the summer reading last year and this year for the English department. The Kite Runner is about Amir, and he's the narrator of the novel, and it opens in the present day United States. And he has these kind of vague references to this really complex childhood he experienced in Afghanistan in the 1970s. The novel flashes back to Amir's challenging relationship with his father, who he calls Baba, and his complex friendship with Hassan, who is his Shia Muslim servant. Many believe that the two should not be friends because they're from vastly different socioeconomic backgrounds and also very different religious perspectives. Amir is a Sunni Muslim and is a member of the privileged class, but he doesn't feel like a privileged member of his own household. In addition to these challenges in his personal life, Amir also must contend with the instability of Afghanistan in the political system in the 1970s. During a crucial moment in his childhood, which takes place during an important kite flying tournament, which is part of the title reference there, Amir decides not to act in an incredibly intense situation. And this conscious choice to not act sets off this chain reaction throughout his life that leads to guilt and lies and ultimately betrayals. This novel has become a modern classic. It's frequently taught in AP literature. It's been on the AP Lit test. It's taught in upper level high school classes as well as college classes. However, it is a book that has significant violence, including rape. Please keep that in mind with this choice. It's a reach book for sure, meaning that it's of substance, meaning it's a little dense, as well as it's complex, but it is very good and very compelling. And that's The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. So that was just a few of the betrayal fiction books that we had and wanted to recommend, but there's lots and lots of others out there. So how do you find them? Well, here I am on the courses page for the library. If you can't find that page, you should look in your drop-down window. Hopefully it's there. If it's not, you want to go over to My Courses, and this is where all of your courses are listed alphabetically. It is the WHHS library, so it's down by the W's, got to scroll. If it's not appearing in that drop-down menu, it's probably a good idea for you to reorder your classes. And the way you do that is simply by dragging it up. So if this was your class down here, anything that appears in that blue background is not going to appear in your drop-down menu. So you pull it up to the white, and there you go. It's now listed up there, and you can get to it easily. So going back to that class, what we're going to do is go into the library catalog, which is called Destiny Discover. Okay, Destiny Discover is right here. So when you go into Destiny Discover, you can either log in using your Power School credentials. Remember, if your password doesn't work, try your numerical birthday. But you don't necessarily have to log in. What I'm going to do is simply search Betrayal now. And it is going to find books that have both betrayal in the title or betray, as well as things that have been tagged as having a content of betrayal. Now, some of these are going to be fiction and some are going to be nonfiction. So just pay close attention to that. All right. So you'll see some of the books that we looked at, including the Kite Runner. This is actually the film. There's a film version. It's slightly different, but just so you know, that these are some of the books that you can access. Now, we don't have a way to get you the print copies right now, but you can get digital copies from the public library, and hopefully soon we'll be able to get digital copies in our library as well. So you can look here and say, then pop over to the public library. Say, I want to read this Code of Honor by Brave Lands or the Brave Lands series. You could look for that in the public library. We also have a collection of betrayal fiction. So if you click over on collections after you've typed here, this is actually a list that was put together based on the idea that 10th graders might read a betrayal fiction piece while reading Julius Caesar, which I know is what you guys are doing. This is a significant list that you can look at with blurbs about the books. So how do you get to the public library? Let's head on back to the main page of Destiny Discover, and you'll see there that we have a bunch of little learning links, these little blocks here. And Libby is the system from the public library. So if we click on Libby, what it will actually do is start to walk you through signing up for Libby if you haven't been on it before. You can click through that to circumvent it, or you can, if you have a public library card already, tie it to your Libby account and go ahead and get searching. Okay, so here I'm going to click on library, and now I'm going to search Betrayal here. Immediately, what it's going to do is start looking for books that have that in the title, but I don't necessarily want it in the title. I want it in the content. So I'm going to go to more options, and I'm interested more in young adult fiction. If you don't necessarily want young adult fiction, you can see there's thriller, suspense, all that kind of stuff. But if I click young adult fiction and then search, now it's going to pull up books that have the notion of betrayal in them, and it even re-specifies some of them, as well as some audiobooks. Some of them, again, are going to have it in the title, and some of them are just going to have it in the content. Okay, so here you can borrow it, and it'll download to a device of your choice. If I want to borrow that, okay, I haven't put in my library account stuff today, and I cleared my cookies, so it's not remembering me. But you can borrow it. You can read it in your browser. If you have a Kindle, you can read there. If you want to read it on your phone, you can too. But this is another way you can find even more titles. And again, remember, if you found one that you liked here, you can simply type in that title over in the search term and see if it shows up in Libby. And here's the book that is from the Walnut Library. All right, so we can see that we have it in our library. Actually, this might be a little different. It says Trader's Game, so maybe it is a different book, it seems. But you can have a look and see if it's there. Let us know if you have any questions. You can always pop into library office hour. We can't wait to see you. Happy reading. Take care, y'all.